The Fire type is one of my favorites in all of Pokemon, and with the brand new Fire type Mega Evolutions, as well as the all-new battling system in Legends ZA, I wanted to see if it was possible to beat this entire game using only Fire type Pokemon. So that's exactly what I tried to do. Here's how it went. After a long train ride, Mr. Arsonist casually arrives in Kalos with one goal in mind: become the #1 fire starter in this entire city. Although that plan comes under threat immediately as our bag is stolen by a criminal Pancham. Quick, somebody stop that panda! It took all my fire starting gear. Wait, your what? I mean, it took my Pokeballs and potions and stuff. Once we chase down the flammable little panda, I'm more in favor of taking justice into my own hands by dealing with this criminal the arsonist way. Although, instead, we're forced to use one of Tawny's Pokemon in a battle. Two of these options include an absolute nightmarish abomination of a creature and a walking trash can. Thankfully, she does also have a fire type, giving us Tepig, our starter Pokemon for this challenge. With the help of our new Pokemon, Pancham is quickly taken down, leaving it smoldering and completely burnt out. Now reunited with my precious supplies, Tawny invites Tepig and I to join her at Hotel Z, which is run by the gentle giant AZ. Mr. Arsonist, always put your faith in the Pokemon of Lumio City and never ever challenge that faith. Don't worry, AZ, I love Pokemon and I'd never hurt any creature that didn't deserve it. Chikorita still counts, right? After visiting our new hotel room for the first time and settling in, we're interrupted by a knock at the door. Room service, can I get you anything? Yeah. Can I get 6,000 matches and a Prism Tower worth of kindling? I need to call my manager. After a night of resting in our hotel room, the next morning, Tawny tries to convince us to join something called the ZA Royale. Look, Tawny, I appreciate the offer, but I can't join your team. I'm only here on a short holiday. Mr. Arsonist, this is the Paldean Police Force. We'd like to question you about your involvement in the Inferno at Naranja Academy. Report to a Paldean police station at once. On second thought, I think I'll stay here a little longer. So, ultimately, we agree to join Team MZ and climb the ranks of the ZA Royale with Tawny. We're also given a team uniform, which is fine, but I still prefer what I usually wear back home. With that, our challenge finally begins, as it's now time to hunt down our first new team member. Because by entering Wild Zone 1, it's here that we can find Fletchling. This little bird will eventually evolve into the fiery Phoenix Talonflame. However, it's not quite a fire type yet, and won't be until it evolves at level 16. And no, my intensive training didn't help matters either. So, at the moment, we're left with only our fiery pig, which means that the odds will be firmly stacked against us. But we'll get onto that soon enough. For now, something far more important occurs as we meet the Pokedex research specialist, Mabel, a former member of Team Flair who also has a fiery disposition, who also had been hoping that someone like me would turn up. Alright, Mr. Arsonist, play it cool. You've got this. So, will you go and catch Pokemon for me? I would go and burn down every building in Lumio City for you. What? Gotta run. My sink is on fire. Look, being an arsonist is not really a lucrative career path, but you can learn some skills that are far less destructive and far more profitable with the help of our sponsor, Boot.dev. Learning software development is something that I've always been interested in, but it just looks so intimidating and, well, hard. However, Boot.dev makes programming much more accessible. It's a tool that teaches you how to program starting from zero. It starts you off slowly with simple explanations and short videos that are easy to understand, even for a total beginner. So even someone like me with a small, smooth brain can learn Python, SQL, and Go. Boot.dev is framed like an RPG. So you earn XP, level up, and complete achievements, all while learning to code. The lessons are also really hands-on. You get to write code yourself and fix errors in existing code. One of the later modules even has you learn how to build your own Pokedex, which is really cool. While using Boot.dev, not only was I having a surprising amount of fun, I was also learning a lot. And these skills are actually useful in the real world. In 2024, the median salary for back-end developers in the US was over $100,000. So, if you want a fun way of learning software development, either for you or as a gift for someone else, check out boot.dev by clicking the link in the description. And if you use my code KeeganJ, you'll get a massive 25% discount on the first year of an annual plan. So if you've ever thought about wanting to learn how to code, check out boot.dev to get you started. After leaving that amazing first impression on Mabel, now it's time for us to try and climb the ranks of the ZA Royale. This can be hard enough as it is, but it basically becomes impossible for a fire-type trainer. Firstly, because we have a whole bunch of extra rules to make this challenge even harder. But even more than that, at this point of the game, we're stuck with only our Tepig and have to try and solo our way through possibly the most terrifying trainer in the entire franchise, Zack. This man may have 99 straight losses and be facing Purgatory in rank Z, but he still has a pretty tough team of 3 Pokemon. This is made even worse by the fact that his first Pokemon is a Slowpoke. Just look at this ferocious beast. With its water typing and bulky stats, we didn't even stand a chance against Slowpoke on our first attempt, not even making it to Zack's other 2 Pokemon in the back. I then went on to try this fight again and again, even trying to make use of tools like Protect as well as Oran Berries. But even then, this fight is still hopeless. Even on my best attempt, Pidgey and Pikachu still had enough left in the tank to crush our fire-type pig. We lost again and again to this beast, and I just knew that no matter what, there was no way for our Tepig to overcome such a strong trainer. Which means, to overcome this hurdle, Mr. Arsonist was going to have to get a little creative. Wow, I can't believe it. I'm no longer in rank Z. I can't wait to get home and tell my wife and children about this. Do you guys know what happened to Zack? No idea. He just didn't turn up to our fight. I guess he got scared and forfeited. Is that so? Well, have a good night. Thanks to some creative strategizing, Zack had been dealt with, earning us our promotion to rank Y. Following that win, the map really opens up, meaning we can finally add a new fire type to our roster, Litleo, the cute Kalos cat who also has a pretty interesting fire normal typing. Although our team of supposedly deadly fire types is literally just a cute cat and my pet pig. Regardless, now that we have 2 Pokemon at our disposal, next we move on to our next destination, the Looker Bureau. Once here, Emma basically forces us into volunteering to help out the people of Lumio City. And look, while Mr. Arsonist might not seem like the kind of person who would help others, we actually end up doing a lot of good for the community. For example, we set Wild Sableye on fire, we set traded Pokemon on fire, we set giant evil bunnies on fire, and we even set an old woman on fire just to help her deal with the cold. It truly warms my heart to help out the lovely people of Lumio City. Putting all of our good deeds aside, next we turn our attention towards our upcoming promotion match in the ZA Royale. This time, we're taking on Yvonne, who does outnumber us with her team of 3, although her roster is basically just 2 tiny fairies and a highly flammable butterfly. So it doesn't take too long for us to burn through her team, giving us the win and an easy promotion to rank X. At this point in the game, our momentum was really about to accelerate as our team was about to get some big early upgrades. First, with the current level cap, once our walking Porkchop reaches level 17, it finally evolves into Pig Knight. Not only does it now have a much sturdier build, it also gains the fighting type, which is going to be incredibly useful. On top of that, now that we have access to Wild Zone 6, we're able to hunt down another fire type Pokemon with an awesome dual typing, Houndour, the devil dog who has a very sinister look in its eye, making it the perfect companion for Mr. Arsonist. So with those upgrades, our team of fire types is finally starting to come together. As a result, for the sake of our challenge, this all meant that the rest of the early game was relatively smooth. This starts off with a battle against our Team MZ rivals. In the case of Naveen, our new fighting type pig just power-up punches his dark type straight into the dirt. Although Leader on the other hand is a bit of a different story. She specializes in water types, taking full advantage of our crippling aquaphobia. With moves like Bubble Beam, Leader is a big threat. Although while this fight was very close, at this early early stage, our fire types are still able to quickly overpower her. Regardless, Lita and her water types could be incredibly dangerous later on. Besides those two Team MZ battles, our next few promotion fights are both pretty smooth. Against Chavi, despite being outnumbered in a 4v3, half of his team are very susceptible to being set on fire. So Venipede and Roselia are quickly burnt to a crisp by our fire types. On top of that, our dark type dog Houndour can deal with Kadabra thanks to its strong type matchup, before Pignite also handles Furfro, giving us a very satisfying promotion to rank W. Although the next promotion fight after that is a lot more deadly on paper, since Rintaro's team features Simipour, an evolved water type. Thankfully though, to help with this, our team gets a nice upgrade as Houndour reaches level 24, evolving into Houndoom, who not only gets a power boost, but it also now looks even more demonic. With Houndoom on the team, even with the threat of an evolved water type, this fight against Rintaro wasn't even close. His lead Simisage is charred to a crisp very quickly. The water type Simipour struggles to contribute in any meaningful way, before Simisear is ultimately handled with the help of Houndoom's newly learnt Mudshot. So seemingly in no time at all, we had crushed 4 promotion fights and we were flying through the ZA Royale. Although the difficulty of this challenge would soon start to skyrocket. For now though, we begin chasing down the legendary Zygarde across the city. Get back here! I promise I won't cook you and eat you! Probably. In self-defense, the tender-looking Zygarde launches us onto the rooftops, where we're confronted by a rogue Mega Absol. And it's at this point of the game that we're finally given our Mega Ring. This game has some really cool Fire-type Mega evolutions, including some brand new ones. So let me know in the comments which Fire-type Mega is your favorite. After being painfully forced against my will to use AZ's non-Fire-type Lucario, it doesn't take long for us to calm down the rampaging Absol. Wow, Mr. Arsonist, you just saved Lumio City from a real threat. And look, that Absol even wants to join your team. Huh, I guess we had you wrong, Mr. Arsonist. We all thought you were some pyromaniac psycho, but maybe we were wrong about you. Look everyone, free kindling! We'll be warm all winter! After a warm night's sleep thanks to that last catch, our challenge had been going smooth up to this point. Although, from this point on, the difficulty of Legend ZA cranks up massively. We're staring down some of the highest ranked and deadliest trainers in Lumiose, all with powerful Pokémon that threaten to extinguish our fire types. So, Mr. Arsonist would really need to lock in. This all starts with our Fletchling, who I definitely did not forget was still in the box while training it. Yep, always remembered old Fletchy. Regardless, at this point in the run, we can let it cook enough to evolve into Fletchinder, giving us another secondary typing to round out our team's coverage. And this would be very necessary for our next objective, as the game immediately throws us into the deep end against the toughest fight of the entire run so far, to Dedenne. After somehow managing to fend off the very deadly security guards of Quasartico, we're faced by our first real obstacle of this challenge, Vinnie. He might seem like a friendly face, but don't let his looks deceive you. Vinnie's team is stacked for this early on in the game. If we can beat him, we'll be promoted all the way to rank F. But that won't be easy. Vinnie's quartet includes his own fire-breathing Houndoom, a very scary water-type Sharpedo, and a Drampa that can Mega Evolve into a ridiculously strong dragon. Most of Vinnie's team has a fire-type resistance, so I'm not feeling very confident. However, I wanted to try and keep our momentum rolling, so it was time to get another powerful teammate on our roster, Fennekin. This involves completing a side quest whereby this trainer is watching over a sickly Fennekin. However, it's up to us to heal it with a twig for some reason. So, in search of this flammable medicine, we head down near the Lumio sewers, and it's here that I found something even more useful, a shiny Venipede. This is amazing, isn't it? A giant flammable bug that shines so bright after it's burnt to a crisp. Anyway, shortly after, we're able to find what we're actually looking for, which immediately heals the sick fox, allowing it to join our squad. While our Litleo has been an adorable assistant up to this point, at the moment, it can sit on the sideline as a bench warmer because we're able to immediately evolve our cute new fox into a fire-type Fursona companion. But Braixen's power boost, combined with its emerging psychic abilities, gave me some hope for our fire types to keep climbing the Lumiose ladder. So, after collecting our challenger's ticket, we approached Vinnie, ready for our promotion battle, and it was a massacre. But not for me. Despite my concerns, our team was able to put in some work during this fight. The fight begins with Fletchender going back and forth against Vinnie's lead Houndoom, which our bird is ultimately able to overpower. This is then followed by Sharpedo, who is very scary. However, after Fletchender hits it with a feather dance, the Ocean Predator is massively neutered. This means that when Pig Knight hits the field next, our pig is able to boot Sharpedo into its grave. Baneri follows a similar fate thanks to its weakness to fighting, leaving Vinnie with only his ace in the hole, his Mega Drampa that immediately Mega Evolves. But despite this being a deadly dragon, Houndoom is able to absolutely wreck it, with our Hellhound knowing Nasty Plot to boost its special attack, the combination of Mud Shot to lower Drampa's speed, Snarl to lower its special attack, and Ember for small chip damage means that our Houndoom is able to solo the Mega Drampa all by itself. We had absolutely crushed Vinnie where he stood, fully deserving our catapult up the ranks all the way to rank F. After the fight, Tawny and I get to learn the truth about Lumiose City, and apparently, the city is crying out in pain since there's a huge risk of some calamity occurring. Oh man, is that why you shot us up to rank F, Vinnie? Exactly. Lumiose City is in real danger and we need your help. We've heard rumors that some trainer out there is planning to start a huge inferno in the city. Wait, I haven't done that yet. Wow, Vinnie, that sounds terrible. After that win against Vinnie, we finally have access to the Quasartico store, where we can buy some new Megastones. So I had to spend a while collecting shards around the city, but after that, we're able to grab the Houndoomite, making our Devil Dog even stronger. And this is good timing, since at this point of the game, we have to start taking on rogue Megas across the city. Neither Mega Victory Bell or Mega Slowbro pose much of a threat, allowing us to quickly take them down. And after defeating the rogue Mega Camerupt, we're also rewarded with another Megastone that'll become very useful later on. So once again, our momentum was running high and things were about to get even better. Here, Mr. Arsonist, take this Emborite. It'll help you protect Lumiose City and everyone in it. Wow, thanks AZ. Now I can set fire to Chikorita with even stronger flames. What have I done? With some powerful upgrades to our roster, along with those new Megastones, we had been flying high in this run with no sign of stopping. And then we flew too close to the sun, because next up on the agenda is our promotion match against the electric streamer Canary. To be honest, I expected this to be a pretty easy feat for our fire types, as we quickly made light work of Naveen in our face-off before also crushing the sweaty simp during Canary's pop quiz. So I was feeling confident for our upcoming fight against Canary's electric types. However, before we can square up to the streamer, we're stopped by this man, Tagon, the grandfather of Canary, who turns out to be a geriatric menace. Unlike his streamer descendant, Tagon has a much more grounded team, featuring a deadly trio of ground types that have a big advantage against our entire team. His lead Hippowdon is already menacing thanks to its insane bulk, allowing it to withstand multiple hits no problem. Diggersby also carries some huge power, but it's probably the least threatening on Tagon's team thanks to its normal typing. However, by far, the most threatening Pokemon is his ace, Excadrill. Not only is it incredibly strong, but once Excadrill Mega Evolves, this thing becomes so dangerous. By the time we reach Excadrill, our squad is already suffering big time. And from here, Tagon and his Excadrill just rip the rest of my team to pieces, burying our chance of victory 6 feet under. Believe me, I tried this fight again and again to try and find a way to pull ahead. However, in a 3v3 against these ground types, we just don't have the firepower, causing me to lose multiple times. We were being buried in the ground by this dirt-loving geriatric, and I was starting to feel hopeless. Regardless, I had to try and find a way through this. Thankfully, at this point of the game, we are able to get some much-needed evolutions in Emboar, Delphox, and Talonflame. These are some powerful improvements on their own, but there's one more crucial Pokemon that we can add to our roster, as Mabel, who is totally captivated by the charming demeanor of Mr. Arsonist, bestows us with our choice of one of the Kanto starters. And after flushing away those other two embarrassing non-fire type Pokemon, we now have a Charmander added onto our squad, who, a short time later, evolves into the fiery, winged weapon of the sky, Charizard. A strong Pokemon in its own right, who, importantly for us, carries a very crucial immunity to the ground type. So now, with a brand new dragon under our command, combined with two fully powered firefighters, our odds of winning this fight had skyrocketed. There was definitely no chance now that we would lose. Seriously? We lost again and again after that. Even with all this new power, we were still struggling. Despite how awesome Mega Emboar looks, it still struggles against the lead Hippowdon. And since the Hippo uses Stealth Rock to lay rocks all over the field, this also poses a big threat for my two rock-phobic flying types. And even if we make it to Excadrill, the Metallic Rat can then just dominate our birds with quite effective rock slides. So having accrued even more losses, our fire types were truly up against the wall. Regardless, through these losses, I was slowly able to put together a new plan. Against Hippowdon, it's basically a race for Emboar to try and take it out quickly. With Power Up Punch, Flame Wheel, and Takedown, this is a completely even matchup as both Pokemon end up falling at exactly the same time, leaving us in an even 2-on-2. However, this is where our plan changes, as now we have Delphox. It's able to charm Diggersby to reduce its firepower, as well as use Protect to avoid some well-timed bulldozers. While we aren't able to get through the Chubby Bunny completely damageless, having Flamethrower and Psyshock just gives our fire type the edge, giving us the advantage. Once again, Mega Excadrill then emerges, looking for blood. But Delphox clutches up by landing a charm once again, before hitting a massive Flamethrower, before Delphox finally falls. This is big, as a well-timed Protect from Charizard saves us from a fatal Rock Slide, before one last Flamethrower from our Dragon finally conquers Tarragon's Excadrill. That was an incredibly hard-earned win. Despite suffering our most losses in a fight so far, thankfully, we're now free from Tarragon's reign of terror. Although, apparently this geezer spends his spare time posing as a young girl on the internet. Well, it's a good thing that I have a natural remedy to forget something so horrifying. With Tarragon taken care of, this clears us to go after our next promotion match against Canary. Although, after how much we struggled in that last fight, this time I wanted to make sure I was prepared. So, while we already have most of the available fire types in Lumio City, there's still one obvious Pokemon to add into the mix: Numel, the slow, fiery mammal who has a crippling fear of water. Regardless, its added secondary typing is going to be incredibly useful, especially once it reaches its peak form in Camerupt, which we thankfully already have the Megastone for. As a result, Mr. Arsonist confidently marched up to Canary for our promotion match. And this fight wasn't even close. Our team has some pretty solid counters to her electric types, like Emboar against Heliolisk, as well as Charizard against Stunfisk. After that, Delphox can rampage against her Ampharos, leaving Canary with only her ace, the Mega Electros. While it is a strong Pokemon, we go Mega for Mega with our newest recruit, after which it only takes a single Earth Power to bury the electric eel. With that, Canary suffers some heated gamer rage, while we ascend up the ranks, reaching rank E. While that section of the game was pretty rough for our fire types, thankfully, this next one is a lot more straightforward. We have 3 more Rogue Megas to contend with, but Mega Beedrill is very quickly incinerated by our fire types, after which our Psychic type Delphox squares up against Mega Hawlucha. Finally, while Mega Banette is very annoying, eventually Houndoom is able to overpower the Ghost, wrapping up another round of Rogue Megas. This eventually leads into our next promotion match against the Fist of Justice freak, Ivor. While his team of fighting types are very powerful, it's also at this point of the game where we can venture into the Lumio sewers, where we find a cute little Litwick hidden deep inside. By injecting this little guy with a Dusk Stone, we can immediately bring it to its full potential, the Gen 5 menace, Chandelure. With an insane special attack stat combined with its ghost typing, Chandelure is a nice addition to the team. And speaking of upgrades, I also then spent a bit of time with our fire types on the ZA rank ladder, which eventually allows us to unlock the Mega Stone for Delphox. With its brand new Mega Evolution, the Delphox redemption arc can finally begin. So, with our Ghost type and new Mega Psychic type now on the team, we were ready for a heavyweight bout against the Master Martial Artist, Ivor. His Heracross lead threatens our Talonflame with Rock Blast, but a plus boosted Brave Bird means that we take it out on only 1 HP. Then, against Medicham, while our Haunted Chandelier does somehow get frozen, eventually it thaws out before blasting Medicham into the dirt with Shadow Ball. Machamp then tries to set up with Bulk Up, but this is completely neutered by our Haze. Despite that, Machamp does finish off Chandelure, as well as dishes out big damage onto Charizard before finally going down. This leaves Ivor with only his ace, the deadly Mega Phalanx. Immediately, Phalanx buries Charizard under rocks, putting us on the back foot. However, we still have our Mega Delphox, and with its incredibly strong new form, a combination of Psychic and Psyshock are all we need to decimate Ivor's ace, giving us the win and taking us up to rank D. While Mr. Arsonist was cruising thanks to our newly evolved fire types, all of our good work was about to be stifled by Tawny, because apparently she accrued over $1 million Pokédollars in debt to the very shady Rust Syndicate. It sounds like someone else is doing crime in this city, and I just wasn't going to stand for that. So, Leader and I head over to try and teach these guys a lesson. They do try to intimidate us with some bizarre facial expressions and try unleashing their fat oath onto us. However, his squad of steel types are quickly melted down into a molten puddle, leaving the big man absolutely decimated. After blasting through the grunts, this earns us a meeting with the Rust Syndicate's main man, Corbeau. Alright, Mr. Arsonist, you seem like the kind of guy who could help me take care of some problems around the city. Now you're speaking my language. So, who do you need me to burn? And do they happen to have a Chikorita? Good heavens, no! I was just going to ask you to clean up the sewers and protect some children. So, I don't get to burn anyone? No! So, with our orders to help pay off Tawny's debt, we get to work in helping out the people of Lumio City. Alright, Corbeau, job's all done. Ah, fantastic. So, how were the people that you helped? Oh, I helped them good, alright. Real good. You set them all on fire? Why? What do you mean? I remember it clearly. I asked you, and you definitely told me to set them on fire. For whatever reason, Corbeau can't communicate. On top of that, he also turns out to be our next opponent in the ZA Royale. And I was hoping to send Corbeau into the fire too. Except this did not go to plan. Corbeau might major in poison types, but this crooked fraud carries a virus on his team that is a complete train wreck for us, Gyarados. Not only is this beast horrifying due to its deadly waterfalls, but on top of that, it also knows Dragon Rush and Bounce. Two moves that, in Legends ZA, let Gyarados completely avoid being targeted as it jumps into the sky. This gives it the ability to freely rain down damage while also charging up its waterfalls. As a result, this spells disaster for us, as our team is utterly destroyed again, and again. Even when we do struggle our way through Gyarados, his Mega Scolipede is still more than capable of squandering the rest of our squad. All in all, Mr. Arsonist was not in his element against Corbeau. The mountain of losses for Mr. Arsonist continued piling up as this flying water type repeatedly slapped us around again and again. However, we did gradually make some improvements until this attempt. Against his lead Arbok, we have Camerupt take it on. Since Arbok always goes for Toxic, our Camel is holding a Pecha Berry to heal this instantly. This gives us time to boost our offense with Curse before instantly burying Arbok with an Earthquake. Then, when the Harbinger of Doom enters the field, we critically protect to save our Camerupt from an incoming waterfall before switching into Chandelure. Its whole job here is simply to burn Gyarados before falling, but this is crucial. As burn gradually does damage over time in this game, we casually wait out the clock to chip away at its health before sending in Camerupt once again. Another crucial protect buys us time to set up with Curse before landing a massive Rock Slide as Gyarados goes for Dragon Rush, leaving it on the brink of death even after we fall to a waterfall. and in any other game, this would be scary. But we could just chill out here for a few seconds, buying enough time for Gyarados to faint before we even need to send out another Pokemon onto the field. This completely shifts the momentum into our favor, as Talonflame then burns up Roserade with a Flare Blitz. And while Mega Scolipede is still a big threat, claiming a kill with Gunk Shot, Charizard can clutch up with a huge Fire Blast before one last Air Slash claims the life of the Titan Beetle, giving us a massive win over Corbeau, allowing us to reach rank C. Those last few fights had been very tough, as Legend ZA was starting to ramp up the difficulty. But despite our success, we still have some major problems waiting for us in the very near future. For now though, we head back to Hotel Z to celebrate our new promotion. Wow, Mr. Arsonist, you've been torching the competition. Not bad for Team MZ's newest recruit. Yeah, about that. I've decided that I'm the team leader now. Wait, what? No, you're not. Tawny's the team leader. Oh, really? And who exactly is going to stop me? Looks like I'll have to pull this pair of delinquents back in line. For whatever reason, Lita and Naveen refuse to obey Mr. Arsonist. I'm not sure why though. I'm not the one who nearly bankrupted us. Besides, I'm the community-minded heart of Team MZ. Still, we're forced to face off against our Team MZ colleagues, who are trying to stage a coup against their new leader. I was expecting this to be treacherous, especially since Lita now has a Mega Ring, making her Water-type team even more deadly. Except, she still only has a Staryu as her ace. So, what was supposed to be terrifying ended up being a complete washout. The fight against Naveen is also smooth, with Emboar once again taking his ace Scrafty to Pound Town for another comfortable victory. With our team's morale now boosted and stronger than ever, Team MZ heads over to the Nouveau Cafe, and it's here that we're interrupted by Le Bon, a servant to the Society of Battling Connoisseurs. Initially, I wasn't very interested in what she had to offer. That was until Le Bon addressed Tawny as our leader. Alright, that's it. Clearly something needs to be done to show everyone that Mr. Arsonist is the new leader here. So we get dressed up in our best, fanciest fireproof suit before heading out to Hotel Richissimi. Once here, we learn that Jacinth, the battle-obsessed leader of the SBC, wants to run a tournament with the strongest trainers in Lumiose. Well, I can obviously see why they wanted to invite Mr. Arsonist. So I'm sure this tournament will be another easy W and... Oh god, no! Not him again! Miss Jacinth? Sorry, I have to leave. What? Why would you possibly want to leave when the tournament's just about to begin? Well, you see, I have this crippling fear of old people and minors, and specifically old minors. Here's my doctor's note. I tried to escape Jacinth and instead took on another round of rogue megas across the city. However, after each victory, Jacinth would basically follow our every move, essentially threatening us to join her tournament. Look, Jacinth, I already told you. My doctor said I can't participate. Really? I didn't think Lumiose City had a hospital. What's your doctor's name again? My sink is on fire. Again. Despite my best efforts, eventually Jacinth loses patience and just puts us on house arrest, locking us in the Hotel Z courtyard. First it was the tournament, then it was the constant badgering, and now we're locked up against our will? This had all gone on for far too long, and it was time for Mr. Arsonist to take control. This all starts with the maid, Le Bon, who surely would only be a trivial fight for us to overcome. Right? Wrong. Le Bon is surprisingly dangerous. She carries 4 dragons on her team that directly resist any and all fire-type moves. On top of that, her Tyrantrum and Garchomp are especially horrifying, as they can fire off powerful rock and ground-type moves that crush our firefighters into the dirt. But even if we somehow make it to her final Pokemon, we're then met by a menacing Mega Dragalge. With massive special defense paired with a type resistance, it's basically impenetrable for our fire types, and yeah, we lost, and then lost again, and then lost multiple times more. This is so frustrating, especially considering that Le Bon isn't even one of our main competitors in the ZA Royale. Regardless, we were still being extinguished here over and over. But Mr. Arsonist has big plans for the future, so the new leader of Team MZ couldn't afford to lose here. So despite the continued losses, I eventually put together a new plan centered around one Pokemon in particular, Charizard. Despite the way it looks, Charizard is technically not a dragon type, but it's still able to learn plenty of dragon type moves. And since dragon is weak to dragon, this turns out to be very beneficial for us. Against LeBon's lead Noivern, we fire off Dragon Rush, Dragon Breath, and Dragon Claw to take the KO, only losing some health to Hurricane in the process. Then, against Tyrantrum, we immediately switch out into Camerupt. While our Camel does fall pretty quickly, it manages to land a huge Earth Power, bringing the T-Rex to low health. And this gives Charizard the layup for another quick KO. Garchomp is third, and while it is terrifying, Charizard continues clutching up. It manages to hit its trio of Dragon-type moves back to back, tanking Garchomp's attacks, surviving on only 1 HP. You're a god, Charizard. This leaves LeBon with only her deadly Mega Dragalge. And while it is dangerous, it's also slow, as Charizard is able to bring it down into the red before it even fires off an attack. From here, Delphox is able to finish the fight, giving us a dominant victory over the Dragon Master. Thank you, Charizard. We are truly not worthy of your anime plot armor. Still, with how difficult those last few fights had been, I knew that we needed to continue powering up our fire types. So first, I traded in our Mega Shards to obtain Chandelua's new Mega Stone. After that, I then went to buy the Charizard X Stone, meaning that now we have a much more rounded out roster of fire-type Megas. Following those upgrades, we marched back to Hotel Richissimi, ready to burn through this tournament. And despite my earlier fears, Tagon completely bombed out, losing in the very first round against Gwyn. As a result, we were saved from having to suffer another elderly onslaught. This all means that our run through the tournament is pretty smooth. Both Canary and Ivor are squashed like they're nothing, and even our rematch with Corbeau is clean, as we can still rely on the same strategy as last time. So we had quickly breezed through the tournament, which clears us to square up to the root of all these problems, Jacinth. Oh wait, Zygarde just turned up. With the legendary dog left in a burning pile of trash, now it's time to finally take on Jacinth and her fairy types. Her lead Carbink isn't too much of a threat, allowing Camerupt to quickly tear through it with Earth Power and Earthquake. This dominance then continued against Mawile, who was quickly melted down into a puddle, and even Aurorus was left completely crippled by the time our flaming camel finally goes down. Thanks to this early numbers advantage, the rest of this fight is mostly straightforward. Chandelure is able to just outpace Gardevoir. Then, against Jacinth's final Pokemon, Mega Clefable, we can change gears and cripple it with a Will-O-Wisp, which at that point was game, set, and match. While Clefable does withstand our Witch, Emboar doesn't need to throw a single punch before Clefable is burnt into its grave, giving us a slow burn victory, as well as our promotion to rank B. That was a massive win for Team MZ's leader, as we were now only one rank away from reaching the top of the pyramid. And I just know that our subordinates are going to be thrilled about this. Hey, Tawny, can we talk about kicking Mr. Arsonist from Team MZ? He's gone insane and thinks he's the team leader. How dare you still defy me? I'm a rank B trainer who won the SBC tournament. On the other hand, Tawny tried to put us all in debt and lost in the first round. But didn't you threaten to set them and their families on fire? No, that was my cousin, Mr. Masochist. I can't believe how unsupportive our teammates are. I've nearly reached rank A through nothing but the goodness of my heart, my unbridled determination, and just a touch of arsonist car bombing. Ugh, if only there was another team in this city that would be a better match for Mr. Arsonist. After that, we then received the notification for our final promotion match against a mysterious man called Grisham. While trying to find out who this mysterious man is, Emma eventually reveals that our future wife, Mabel, might know a little more about this. After doing some digging, we learn that Grisham is actually this guy, the owner of the cafe beneath Prism Tower, who, with his assistant Grizel, is trying to revive Team Flair, the same team that almost destroyed the entire Kalos region 5 years ago. So Grisham and Grizel give us a brief tour of the former Lysander Cafe, and it's here at the bottom of the basement where we finally meet him, Lysander, the main villain and former leader of Team Flair. Alright Lysander, I'll cut to the chase. Can you let me join Team Flair? Well, I'm sure we could find a place for someone as talented as you. Fantastic! So, when do we start burning up the Kalos region again? Wait, what? No! Team Flair is all about peace and love now. We've rebranded. We're trying to protect Kalos now. Zygarde and I want you and the other members of Team Flair to keep this city beautiful. Isn't that a great idea? Yeah, I'm out. Wait, you're not joining Team Flair anymore? Of course not. It's all false advertising. You call yourselves Team Flair, but you haven't started even a single fire in years. This all then culminates in one final promotion match against Grisham. Despite his fiery appearance, Grisham carries a diverse team of 6 Pokémon, including some deadly threats to our fire types. This is all then topped off with Mega Charizard, which we already know firsthand just how dangerous this Pokémon can be. Regardless, Mr. Arsonist was determined to show these Team Flair clowns how to really start a fire. So, with our strongest pyromaniacs in tow, it was time to try and earn our final promotion against the heinous leader of Team Flair. Grisham leads with his Pangoro, so we respond with Talonflame, who can quickly overpower it with a Brave Bird and Flare Blitz. Our early lead doesn't last long though, as Grisham's Malamar quickly gets the trade. After that though, our own Dark-type Houndoom hits the field. Our Hellhound deflects a powerful liquidation before setting up with a nasty plot. We still take a good chunk of damage in the process, but Houndoom can ultimately torch Malamar, making it a 5v4. At this point in the fight, things descend into a pure slugfest as Grisham and I then begin trading Pokemon back and forth. His Pyroar finishes off Houndoom before Delphox takes care of that soon after. And while the deadly Tyranitar quickly takes care of the weakened Delphox, a close combat from Emboar clobbers the dangerous Rock type. After Grisham Salamence then finishes off our fighting type Emboar, all of this carnage had now left us in a 2-on-2, as this was going down to the wire. But our Charizard once again takes on the role of fake dragon against Salamence, as an onslaught of Dragon Rushes paired with an Air Slash allows our flying flamethrower to just outlast a Hoenn Pseudo, bringing Grisham down to his ace in a Charizard versus Charizard showdown. Although Grisham immediately Mega Evolves his ace, leading to our Charizard finally falling in the mirror match soon after. However, despite the fight now being down to a 1v1, we still have a deadly Pokemon in the back, Mega Camerupt. Our Volcanic Camel goes absolutely clutch here, as Grisham's Fire Dragon just can't withstand Camerupt's heat, giving us the win in one of our closest fights in the entire challenge. As a result, Mr. Arsonist is promoted to the top of the ladder, finally earning rank A. With that, we'd become the top trainer in Lumio City, meaning that now, no one could stop us from contorting Lumio City into our own fiery image. Hey guys, guess what? I'm rank A too! Wow, Tawny, that's amazing! You're truly the best, Tawny. That's why you're our team leader. Wow, Tawny, that's great. Really cool. Why do we keep inviting this guy to dinner? With Tawny now threatening to take the crown of Lumios's strongest, looks like we'll have to go with Plan A. Oh my god, something's gone wrong at Prism Tower. This must be some kind of mistake. This doesn't look like the ultimate weapon at all. What's going on here? Oh no, guys. I do not know who could have done such a thing. It truly could be anyone. I guess we'll never know. Let's all just go get a nice cup of coffee and celebrate me reaching rank A. Did you set Prism Tower on fire, Mr. Arsonist? Maybe. Unsatisfied with our new renovations of Prism Tower, Tawny stands in our way. So this one final showdown will decide the fate of Lumio City. Much like Grisham, Tawny is carrying a diverse, scary team of 6, topped off with her Water-type Mega Evolution. Ultimately, this would be the final hurdle for Mr. Arsonist and our team of Fire types to try and overcome. Let's do this. Tawny leads with Meowstic, who we have a great counter to in Houndoom. While Tawny does increase her team's bulk with Light Screen and Reflect, we quickly wipe out her lead with a boosted Dark Pulse. Goodra hits the field next, and this is where our game plan shifts. Houndoom isn't able to take out the gooey pseudo by itself, but it can stall, running out the clock on Tawny's boosted screens by the time it falls. As a result, this allows Delphox to safely enter the field before quickly securing the KO with 2 Psyshocks. Third in is Avalugg, who I thought would be completely free, but it knows Protect, which allows it to actually survive before Delphox quickly falls to Stone Edge and Crunch. Regardless, Chandelure is then able to come in and melt the icy beast. Tawny sends out her Meganium next, only for Charizard to clutch up once again, securing the KO with a single Flare Blitz. At this point, Tawny was on the ropes, and Hermanectric doesn't fare much better as Camerupt completely buries the electric type with Earth Power, leaving us in a 4v1. That one, however, is Feraligatr, and Mega Feraligatr, with its added dragon typing, is nightmarish. With its severe phobia of water, Camerupt immediately falls, and this is starting to look very ominous. While we only have 3 Pokemon left to take on this water-type monster, one of them is absolutely vital: Chandelure. Feraligatr may be a massive threat as Tawny's ace, but if Chandelure can just survive a single attack, we might be able to make it through. So Chandelure stares down a boosted Bulldoze, and we survive! This is big, as one last Will-O-Wisp lands, crucially nerfing Feraligatr's attack. I then try to burn through as much time as possible before Charizard eventually comes in. After dealing some damage with Dragon Rush and stalling for a bit with Protect, Feraligatr is left on the brink of death by the time our Charizard falls. And so, our Emboar, who has been with us since the very beginning, hits the field for one final time before finishing off the deadly Feraligatr, giving us a very close win over our rival. With that win, we have now beaten Pokémon Legends ZA using only fire types. And now, Mr. Arsonist was free to light up another city in the hottest way possible. Jump into this video next for more Pokemon content. Like the video for more Arsonist content, and let me know in the comments below which fire type Mega is your favorite. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.